Did you know that you're 65% more likely to achieve your goals if you include somebody else in that process? If you tell somebody else, just one other person, about your goals. And you're 95% more likely to achieve your goals if you schedule regular check-ins with somebody else to ask you about your goals. And that's not self-help fluff. That's real research from the American Society of Training and Development. So if you've ever wondered why it's so hard to stick with a goal, this could be it, that you're not connected to somebody else, you're not sharing that with somebody else. Hi, I'm Dr. Dave, and welcome back to the Good Life Lab. We're in the midst of the series From Languishing and Lost to a Good Gay Life. We're on day 13, which has to do with this compass framework that we've been talking about. And so we're focusing just on the accountability part of that today, which has to do with moving your ideas from just ideas to more action, and how inviting others into that can help you achieve your goals in a more significant way. So here's the truth: no matter how inspired you are or motivated you are to get your idea off the ground, your Good Life project started, you're much more likely to succeed over time if you can share that with other people, if you can include them in your process. So that's what this is all about today. If you have been following along in this series, we've been doing this for several days now. We're day 13 out of 21. You know, we're following this compass framework. We're on the last day of the A, allies, tribe, and accountability. We've talked about how to identify your allies and tribe, things to do that might make you feel closer to them. And now we're focusing on accountability, how to include other people in this process to be more successful and to enjoy the process more. So for those who have been following along and with kind of sticking with this process, you have been dreaming about your Good Life list. You have been hopefully naming the project and narrowing down what you want to focus on over the next month as your prototype, but then also how can you commit to something over the next year to sustain your interest, to feel good about making progress, to find a better sense of meaning and purpose. That's the ultimate goal, is to create this year-long project that you can stick with for 12 months. And as I mentioned quite a bit on this channel, if you're interested in doing this with somebody else to help you stick with your project, if you don't have that in your life right now, please check out the waitlist in the description below for this coaching group that I'm trying to develop. I'm offering it because it's really critical that if you want to see significant life change, that you're able to follow through with it. And one way to help you follow through with it is by developing connections with other people that can keep you accountable. So that's the point of kind of what we're talking about today. I mentioned in the opening the research from the American Society of Training and Development, and essentially that you're 65% more likely to follow through with your goals if you can include at least one other person. And that number jumps to 95% if you schedule regular check-ins with at least one other person. In positive psychology, which is my field, we call this supportive accountability, which is one of the most reliable predictors of sustained positive personal behavior change. So sometimes we think of accountability, the word, as more pressure to get us to do something. Hopefully you can reframe that as not pressure, but partnership of shared energy to help you stay motivated and committed to your goals. When somebody else believes in your vision and you and what you're trying to do, your brain's reward system actually fires up more strongly. You literally can feel more motivated when your goals are witnessed by somebody else. That's why the GLPS and the Good Life positioning system always comes back to this truth. The good life is not a solo sport. I'm going to share a little bit of my own story and how this fact has transformed my life and my approach. And I'm going to talk about Project 46 again and some of the details around this transition project in my life when I was turning 46. As you may remember from my series, I was at a point of darkness and depression, and very much like Kristen Wiig from the movie Bridesmaids, her character, just my life was a mess. I wasn't doing well in relationships. I lost my job. I ended up moving back with my mom, literally, in my 40s. And so just everything was falling apart. And so I developed this year-long project to help me with this transition in my life. And I had 3 goals: love and life, peace with God, and a job I like. I first kind of started this project in isolation and just kind of dreamed it up by myself. Then maybe, 2 months later, I decided to let other friends and family know about it. I was reaching out for some support and accountability and just to kind of share my life with them. So I crafted this long email and included an audio introduction to what I was kind of going through. Ever felt like you'd lost your way and maybe your laugh? Well, I have at many points throughout my life. The pivotal time was at 45, in between jobs, languishing, and at a loss for love and purpose. I found research that said we get happier as we get older, and 46 is the turning point. So I crafted an adventure called Project 46. Hear about love and listening for meaning and direction in life's breadcrumb clues. And invited people to go on this journey with me. It was at a point where I was trying to be honest with people with where I was, coming from a spiritual religious background. And that's how people knew me, as this strong Christian, so to speak. And so I wanted to be more honest about where I was. I don't think I had the courage enough to, in the email, talk about being gay at the time, but it was a way of beginning to share that part of my life with them in this email. So basically I was just inviting them to share in my process, my journey, but I was also inviting them to take this opportunity to maybe change something in their life and to go on this journey with me. So as I sent out that mass email to my friends and family and got limited responses, I was able to kind of got clues of who might be more willing to engage with me and hold me accountable to this project that I had launched. By emailing my friends and family and including people in the process, it helped me move from an idea that I had to taking action. I was now accountable to these people I had shared this with, and they're going to ask me, how's the project coming along? And so I wanted to take that risk and sharing that with them so that I would kind of force myself to be accountable to them in that way. So including other people in my Project 46 and other projects has shown me that maybe sometimes the project isn't the ultimate purpose, that building allies and your tribe and accountability and closeness is really the point of it all. Going back to the Harvard research study that I mentioned, that the point of their 85 years of research around happiness and well-being, the conclusion is that it's all about relationships. So even if your project isn't a huge success, the fact that you're connecting with other people, that's most important. So just remember that as you're going through your project. And the most important thing about it all is that you're connecting with other people on a human level and building those relationships over time. You could say that your Good Life project is really just an excuse for connecting with other people. If that's the only thing that comes out of your project, connecting with somebody else in a more meaningful way, then it's worth the effort. And just another reminder that I know the word accountability can seem a little harsh maybe or judgmental, but hopefully you can see it is more about encouragement and fostering that connection with other people. It's really about finding the right people to remind you of the story that you're trying to live in, the heroic journey that you're on when you lose the plot. So the next segment of day 13 of building your allies and accountability, how to take your Good Life project from abstract ideas to action, to reality. As we move into the last segment of day 13 of the allies and accountability, we're going to create a Good Life project check-in. That's the kind of the next practical step here. Keep in mind, dreams are fragile until they're shared with other people. So here's your Good Life project check-in challenge. First step is to refine your project. You've been kind of working on a prototype of a Good Life project over the last few days. Now it's time to refine that some. And the one thing you can do is just reflect on how your project's going. How's your prototyping going? What are you learning from that process of trying on a small scale what you're doing and what you want to do with your life list items? And the goal is to refine it and then commit to something long-term over this next year. If you haven't already, you want to reflect on your Good Life project idea, revise it, and tighten it up. You want it to be something you can commit to, even though it's going to change still. You want to commit to it for a year. And if you haven't, give it a name, give it a title, just something that feels inspiring and helps you remember what you're about for that year. And you also want to think about a subtitle for your project, which gives it even more focus. And then the subtitle can include intentions for the year, things you want to make sure you remember and you can recall easily, but helps you focus on the priorities for that year. Take time to revise and reflect on those things and add those changes into your project as you begin to commit to it for a longer time. So the next point here, number 2, is to identify your allies, those people that you can invite into this process, this project, and hopefully get support from them, some accountability to keep you going, to keep you motivated. I know it's a risk to share this kind of thing if you have a project you're working on to include others, but take that risk and tell them what you're working on, tell them what your priorities are for the year. And the third step here, as you invite support from other people, is to actually ask the question, would you be willing to check in with me occasionally, hopefully weekly, maybe for a while, maybe it becomes monthly after that, but give some regularity to your check-in times with the person and actually ask them if they'd be willing to do that for you. You might, if it feels like it's too much to do for a year, you might say, I'm doing this for 90 days. Would you be willing to check in with me over that period of time? You might even contextualize and say, I'm not asking for pressure, just support and partnership and presence from you, just to make sure I'm keeping myself accountable to what I want to do. And I'll say that if you don't have the community that you want or need right now, please check out the Gay Men's group coaching waitlist in the description below if you'd like to have a place to share your project and some of the things you're working on if you don't have that sense of community elsewhere. Or even if you do, this could be another layer of more intense accountability to help you stay committed to your project by joining this waitlist. So please check that out in the description below. As a closing reminder, as you bring your project to your community, it stops being a dream, it starts becoming a movement, your movement. And dreams are fragile until they're shared. Once you speak them aloud and invite others into them, they gain traction, weight, and life. So reach out to your allies, share your project, let somebody else walk with you, because every hero needs a tribe, needs allies, needs a mentor, and every good life needs a little bit of meaningful connection, accountability, and support. So in the next video, we'll move into the S in the compass, the first S, which stands for sacred anchors and core values. So helping you get in touch with what's most important to you and aligning your life according to those values and sacred anchors. Until then, remember, you're not meant to do this alone, this life alone. You're not meant to do this project alone. So take the risk, reach out, be vulnerable, invite others in to keep you accountable, but to also build that closeness with somebody else. That's the point of all this. If nothing else, if you don't make any progress on your project and it's just helped you connect with somebody else, that's enough. That's the point of the good life, making those meaningful connections with somebody else in your life. So I will see you next time and have a great rest of your day.